Hey, welcome back to Romick Brothers.
I'm thinking,
This is our second episode.
I said, excuse me.
I know. So today we're doing Armpits and Rednecks.
There we go.
Basically, since Mike and I and our sister Deborah, who wanted to be here but is unable to be here with us today, so she should put in a good plug for New Jersey. We've both lived in a lot of places, moving around as kids, and that kind of stuck with us as adults. But we grew up mainly in New Jersey, and Mike now lives, and we both lived in West Virginia for a number of years. Two states that are often maligned, often misunderstood.
Unfairly, I might add.
Yeah, well, that's almost implied in the word maligned.
That's true.
and misunderstood for a variety of reasons. So we're here as much as possible off almost the top of our heads to set the record straight.
I think what it is, okay, so Jerry and I were both born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Jerry was only a couple of years old. I was a month old, and we moved to New Jersey. And then we lived in New Jersey for nearly 13 years.
No, it was like 14. We moved there in 60 and moved away in 74.
Okay. Loved New Jersey. We had accents that were so thick, it was unbelievable. But of course, we didn't realize that we had accents until we moved somewhere else, or on summer vacations when we would meet with remember when we met with our relatives from Wisconsin?
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed like we were almost speaking different languages. It was really kind of funny.
Well, because I got that Midwestern accent out there.
Oh my gosh, Jerry. No, it's that almost Minnesota, Fargo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Channel kind of accent. Okay.
But anyway, because they're so close to Chicago, though, too, there is a Great Lakes accent
from
Buffalo all the way to Chicago that is very similar.
SNL used to do a really great job. Remember the Bears, that one where they had the Chicago accent? Yeah. Anyway, living in we were less than an hour away from New York City.
Oh, yeah.
And we were always just made horrible fun of and called the armpit of the nation. And
the state, not us. Yeah.
Agreed. They would look at cities like Newark, which did obviously have some horrible times, although the airport's still not bad and still very easy to get in and out of. Well, compared to LaGuardia or JFK. Okay. Yeah. I always like to fly into there. And Jersey has lots of good things. Okay. Yes, they are deserving of some of the crap that people give them. Mm-hmm. We have to remember they were one of the first outside of Las Vegas to do gambling, like in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City, yeah.
And they promised that was going to revitalize the city, okay? I've been, and the dichotomy of poverty and ridiculous opulence, I don't think could be any more defined, okay?
Really?
So, oh my gosh, yes. And
I haven't been there since they legalized gambling.
Oh my gosh, Jerry. No, Jewel and I actually went to Atlantic City one day. Then our buddy who was governor for a while, who I thought.
Chris Christie?
Yes, Chris Christie, who was okay. I think that he was a bigger man in certain things that he did. And I actually liked him for a while until Bridgegate and until he took this ridiculously paltry sum of money from one of the oil companies that had absolutely destroyed all kinds of land in New Jersey because they were a main contributor to one of his campaigns, I think probably when he was running for president. Okay. Okay. Trying to set all that aside and that there were organized crime and gang and all that stuff going
Sopranos.
on. Right. Okay. New Jersey, by and large, the Garden State, okay, is beautiful. And it does have farmland. I drove from Philadelphia to Atlantic City, and parts of New Jersey over there are absolutely gorgeous. And come on, Jerry, wasn't like Asbury Park was nice, right? Sandy Hook was nice.
Yeah, they didn't have a boardwalk there. But Ocean Grove, Asbury Park.
Long Beach Island.
The Pine Barrens, where you find all kinds of bodies buried.
Oh, yeah. We're trying to say good things, okay?
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, there are some great things to New Jersey. They just end up getting the short end of the stick because they are next to arguably the greatest city in the United States, okay?
Right.
One of the greatest cities in the world. You can't, that's the old cliche of comparing apples to oranges, okay? So then, Jerry is what, were you 16 or 15? I'm 13.
About 16.
My dad and mom decide we're going to move to West Virginia.
Now, to Wheeling, West Virginia.
Right. Okay.
Which is unlike most of the rest of the state.
Okay. West Virginia, which so
That's
many
the redneck part.
oh my gosh, yes, okay. But so many people in the United States still do not realize that West Virginia is a completely different state from, okay, it hasn't, I can't go but a couple of years when and I'll meet someone from another place and they'll be like, where are you from or where are you living? And I'm like, I'm teaching in West Virginia. And I'm like, oh, is that close to Richmond
Yeah.
or Virginia Beach? And then again, you look at them and you're like, I'm sorry, wait a minute. I thought you were a college educated person. Do you seriously not know that West Virginia since the Civil War has been a completely separate state? So our move from New Jersey to West Virginia, it kind of set me up because I already had that. I don't know if you felt this way, but I already had that kind of chip on my shoulder, like I'm from Jersey and I'm proud, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which made me love Bruce even more, okay? and then the whole West Virginia thing. And Jared, I lived in Missouri, mainly in St. Louis, and then in Herman for like 30 years. But I still always watched WVU sports. That was like my touchstone. It's like West Virginia never stopped being my home because I felt like I had to stand up for it and be counted. I mean, like protect it from all of those naysayers that, and we do have, okay, we've had a horrible time. I don't even know that we're there yet in trying to shed that coal-related or coal-reliant economy. We haven't really found our niche yet. We've opened a casino here and there. The only county that we've had, though, from the last census that didn't lose population is the one where Morgantown, where West Virginia University is. Literally, of all the 55 counties in the state of West Virginia, that was the one that didn't lose population, which is really sad. Now, the part of West Virginia that we lived in is Wheeling, which is the northern panhandle. We are an hour or not even quite an hour away from Pittsburgh.
Right. Well, the state at that point is only about 7 miles wide.
Right.
That part of West Virginia really should be part of either Pennsylvania or Ohio. The Ohio River split is the border between West Virginia and Ohio there.
And it's called the Ohio Valley. I mean, that's how everyone refers to it.
It's much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Culturally like Ohio or Pennsylvania than the rest of Pennsylvania. Not to say that West Virginia is bad culturally, but it's more, more Pirates fans up in there or Reds fans, Steelers fans.
Everyone in the Ohio Valley, honestly, driving around during football season, it is Steeler country. There is no question that it's Steeler country. Right. Okay. Every once in a while, perhaps there's a Browns fan. Okay. But honestly, it really is. And we are. There's a guy on YouTube who does these videos because every time when I'm teaching, I teach English in high school. Okay. And college composition in college. And they are convinced, as we all are at some point in time, that they don't have an accent, which just cracks me up. There's a guy who does videos on YouTube called Pittsburgh Dad. And of course, he over enunciates, he uses the word nebby for nibby, right? Yeah. And it's yin guys, because there are certain peculiarities to speech that are very Pittsburgh. And we really do in the Northern Panhandle. Now you go further south in the state and people have a legitimate Southern accent.
Yeah. Although I don't think of West Virginia as a Southern state.
It's not. It truly, although I have heard it say we are the most northern of the Southern states and we are the most southern of the northern states.
Yeah, maybe. I lived in Kentucky for a number of years, and Kentucky is really not a southern state, more of a border state, especially when you're thinking Civil War era and where the states lined up. But they're a little more southern than West Virginia, although Kentucky and West Virginia do share a border.
Right, right. I don't know. I've always felt that place in my heart of, I got your back, buddy. And when you meet people everywhere you go. Okay, so while I was putting myself through college again and managing a bar restaurant, and I heard these guys talking at a table, and oh my gosh, I literally rushed over to them. I'm like, where are you guys from? Are you from Ohio? Are you from West Virginia? And they're like, no, we're from Pittsburgh. How did I know? The accent immediately. Yep. Okay, you know how they say mom, it's mom, right? Mm-hmm. And things like that. So I got to talking with these guys. The next day, they went out and brought me a terrible towel. And I still have, Jerry, I hung that terrible towel on my bulletin board in my classroom everywhere I've taught. It was a big deal when I taught in right outside of Missouri. It was not as big a deal, but a big deal when I taught in Charlottesville, Virginia. Now, when I'm teaching Wheeling, West Virginia, it's not as big a deal, but I've always had that. And it is that, that feeling of belonging And I think that's why we all follow West Virginia University. Obviously, West Virginia has no professional sports teams. And those are those kind of bringing together. Okay, Jack, doesn't it? I still get choked up almost when West Virginia University's football team wins.
Yeah.
The football players and the cheerleaders and the coaching staff go on the field and everybody joins arms and in the stands and sings Take Me Home Country Road. I mean, it is, I'm not kidding you. It's like, you know, I can't get that warm feeling all over. All right. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So anyway, I just think that New Jersey does have some beautiful places and has very warm people. And perhaps they even have that gruff kind of, hey, get out of here kind of thing. But Jersey is a wonderful state. West Virginia, not many people really know West Virginia. They point this as, oh, you're part of the, you know, the Appalachian Mountains and you guys marry your sisters and you're, or they give us crap about like dueling banjos from the movie Deliverance. Which
and that's Georgia.
I know. I read the book.
This is where I happen to live now. And I wake up every morning asking myself, how did I wind up in Georgia? I love it.
You have Atlanta.
Here, but yeah, that's true. Couple of quick stories.
Okay, sorry.
2 from Jersey about going to West Virginia. I was sophomore in high school. And when we could finally tell people we were going, I remember telling some kids in my class, yeah, I'm moving. Where are you going? I'm going to West Virginia. And at that time, I wore a lot of flannel shirts with the sleeves rolled up about 3/4 of the way and white thermal long-sleeved undershirts. And one of the girls looked at me and said, yeah, that kind of figures. You'll probably do well there.
Oh, that's great.
And then remember, before we were allowed to tell anybody, because our dad was a minister and he had told us, and before we could say a word to anyone, he had to officially resign from the church. He usually gave him a month, 6 weeks or whatever. So there was a period of time when we knew before he had told anybody.
Right.
And we were riding around in a friend's car with 3 or 4 or 5 other people and Country Roads came on the radio. Do you remember that?
I do.
And we looked at each other because everybody was singing. So we just kind of looked at each other and smiled and nodded and started singing because we knew we were headed for those country roads.
That's right.
And I remember, since I've been here in Atlanta, I work in radio, and a record company guy brought some artists in to do an interview or something. We were talking. I don't know how West Virginia came up. He says, yeah, you know, I was in West Virginia not too long ago, and I drove for like 6 hours and didn't see a single person. So are there any people that actually live there?
Yeah. You know, Jared, West Virginia has 1.83 million people. I mean, so obviously we don't have a heck of a lot of people.
Right.
Even our biggest cities aren't that big. I mean, Wheeling is down to like 30,000.
I know.
One time it was nearly 80.
Yeah, when we moved there, it was second or third biggest city in the state, probably. Yeah. We had 3 high schools at one time.
I know. I remember.
I remember telling somebody when I was moving, they said, Wheeling, that's not very big. And I was dating this girl at the time. Her dad said, it's a good size city. He said, yeah, we got 3 high schools. And the town we lived in only had 1.
That's right.
When we lived in Fairlawn. Another cool thing about New Jersey, and people make fun of it for this, and I don't know what the thinking is behind this law, but it's the last state in the union where there are no self-serve gas stations. The general public is not allowed to operate gas pumps.
Isn't that the weirdest thing? I went back. Okay, so I took 2 of my kids back because we went to New York, and neither one of them had been to New York.
2 of your children, your son and daughter.
Yes, Shane and Kate came with me. Okay, and I made them go with me to Fairlawn because I hadn't been, I swear, since
we left. Probably since 70.
Year after. Okay, so 75. Yeah. The summer after we moved to West Virginia, I went back because remember I had to take a bus back to play in a baseball game to West Virginia.
Yes.
Okay. So I hadn't been back there since then. I mean, I went to the New York airport. I went to malls in and around, Jersey all the time and that kind of thing. But I drove to back where our old house, our old church. I drove past Memorial Junior High, Memorial Middle School now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was the first time that they had been there ever. And it was just kind of nice. It really was, Obviously, a lot of things have changed. I didn't remember that the junior high was that close to the public pool.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know why. And we used to walk to that school, Jared, and I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
But it was nice. I didn't go back to Cranford, and I haven't been back there. Have you?
Didn't you Well, Terry and I lived on Long Island for about 8 years
Yeah.
after we had moved and whatever. So from 88 to 95,
Okay.
we were out on Long Island, and Grandma and our Aunt Margaret still lived
Lived in Cranford.
So we would go over there. When we
Oh,
first moved there, we were there once a week.
sure.
But
And I did stay
it was
with
an
them.
hour and a half drive. You had to go through the city.
Right.
But then it went to once a month. So yeah, we were in Cranford a lot. And actually got to Fair Lawn a couple times. Went and visited the Grossies, a family that were very close to us in Fair Lawn.
I did, because I stayed with them one time, Jer.
Mm-hmm.
I could not find my rental car return at Newark Airport. I'm not kidding you. It was horrible. And it was, long before GPS. I literally drove around and around and around, finally got my car back there, took the shuttle to the airport, missed the last plane back to St. Louis. I called Aunt Margaret up. She came and picked me up. And I stayed at Grandma and Aunt Margaret's house because Grandma made me breakfast the next morning. And she always cooked. And so I have been back to Cranford, but I didn't go by the church and I didn't go by 220 Central Avenue.
Right.
So I hadn't been back there. I did look it up on Google Earth one time, which is really cool. You can see Street View.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
I'll see if I can't post a picture in this video somehow. I've got it on the Romix.com. I think I did a post a year or so ago, places I've lived, and I did Google Map Street View, and I've got 220 Central Avenue up there, 713 River Road, 7-13 River Road in Fair Lawn.
I went there. I
well.
got out of the car. I took pictures. In fact, I think I sent some to you, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Memorial Baptist Church. Yeah. No. I remembered that.
Yeah. We had some good times. Good times in Jersey.
We
good
did.
times in West Virginia.
That was a really good period. I mean, our coming of age almost kind of years. Yeah. I still look at Wheeling as being that more for me.
Right.
Because that's where, and you too, that's where we both graduated from high school. That's where we both met and fell in love with the girls who then became our wives, started college. All of that happened here. But there were some of those still foundational years in Jersey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jersey was very key for us. Although I do remember calling it a bird turd state before we moved away. Because I don't remember even what it was. Something goofy political that was going on. The congestion and whatnot.
Now, where was the beach where you and another friend, was that Wildwood?
Yes, that was Wildwood. Yes. We went on a church youth group trip. But anyway, we were at Wildwood for a weekend retreat with our church youth group from Fair Lawn. And Al and I split off from the group for some reason, and we were walking along, and we got mugged by a group of kids.
Mugged. They were like bully teenage boys, basically, right?
Well, they set us. Here's how they set us up. We got time for a story. We're walking down the boardwalk, and these 3 or 4 girls come running up behind us and grab us by the arm and start saying, give us some money or give us some gum or something like that. And we said, I think I had clove gum. Because I don't know if you remember that Pat told us that
supposed to
was the only thing
tobacco smoke from your breath. Yeah, I remember.
Tobacco smoke or alcohol from your breath.
Right.
Oh, he knew that. I don't know, but
no, he was told by his friends.
Yeah. Anyway, so they left. I think they maybe took a stick of gum. We didn't give them any money, and we continue walking along. And there's 3 or 4 guys standing in front of us. So we turn to the right, and then there's 3 or 4 guys standing to the right. So we turn to the left, and by the time we turned to the left, there were 3 or 4 more guys. We realized something might be up here. And then one of them said, what are you guys doing? First, one of them said, what are you doing with those girls? Those are all girlfriends. The second guy said, why didn't you talk to those girls? Didn't you like those girls? And I'm looking trying to figure out.
Get your story straight.
And I turn, and there's this little kid, had to stand up on his tippy toes because Al was kind of tall, just pounded away on Al. And I looked at him, and I turned around, and as I turned around, somebody hit me on this side, right in the cheek. And I turned to look at him, and somebody hit me on the other side, right in the cheek. And then they dispersed.
That was it.
Al and I walked away, and some guy came running up. Hey, I'm sorry, man. These guys down here, they're just crazy. Did it hurt when they hit you? I said, no, I just wasn't looking. And the guy sucker punched me. And as I'm telling this guy how it happened, he punched me. And then he ran off. So we found the rest of the group very quickly and stayed close the rest of the time.
Smart that. Okay, now remember, we're supposed to be telling stories of that disprove those bad stories about New Jersey and West Virginia. Because then I remember when we drove into Wheeling, wasn't there a sign on the Wildwood Beach about like the safest beach or
friendliest? Yeah.
Because then when we drove into Wheeling, the sign said Wheeling, the friendly city. And you looked at me and you're like, oh, we're in trouble or something like that. Because you're like, oh my gosh, remembering what it was like on the beach.
Well, do you remember the first day we moved in? After we got stuff moved in and started unpacking, you and I took a walk down National Road, and we turned onto Washington Avenue because I think maybe at that point somebody had told us that there was, remember the Tiki Hut?
Oh, yeah.
There was an ice cream store. As we're walking across the Washington Street Bridge, some guy drives by, and your hair was probably maybe not even as long as it is now. And my hair was pretty long. And some guy rolls down this window, "Hi, girls," remember? Because we had long hair. And we looked at each other and said, "Oh, crap, here we go."
Jerry, what church was it? It could have been here. Okay, by here now I mean West Virginia. Okay, because, Dad was an American Baptist minister, which is not as strict or conservative as Southern Baptist.
Right.
But I remember it could have been Franny's mom said to Franny, "Now this minister's got boys. This is you'll see how young men are supposed to look." And we come walking in, and he's got ridiculously long hair, and I'm sure her mouth just fell open.
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh,
to Pap's credit and to Mom's credit, both of them being raised in the generation that they were raised in and where they were, I really think that they were very understanding and very, allowing us to be ourselves.
And wear our hair long and
which was good. Yeah, it really was.
I think
that Jersey was a great place. Haven't lived there for so many years. I mean, it's rather hard to tell, but it has some honestly wonderful and really beautiful parts. And West Virginia is a separate state, first of all, and it is a really great place. I mean, it's the only state to be formed as a result of the Civil War because they didn't want to hang with the boys from Virginia.
They seceded, actually. They seceded from Virginia.
We're not going with those boys, right? And, okay, we got to put a plug in for Festival of Lights, Jer. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Probably, and I've been to several in several different states, the best Christmas light display in any park. And it's not even a state park. Oglebay is actually a city park for Wheeling, West Virginia. It is amazing, literally amazing. I put the convertible top down this year, and we drove through, and it wasn't too bad. It was probably in the 40s.
That's not bad.
So anyway, Oglebay Park, besides some of the state parks that West Virginia has, Oglebay Park is unbelievable, and it's a city park right here in Wheeling, an hour away from Pittsburgh. So what did we not talk about the chip on our shoulder from we talked, I think we gave ample defense of
evidence. Yeah. I think there are a lot of good things about both places, and you're going to find bad things and bad people wherever you go. But if you look for the good, I think for us, the thing about Wheeling that is especially important for us is it's just right across the river from Martins Ferry, Ohio, and that's kind of the land of our origins. That's where the Romics, at least the branch that we're from, are from. And there are still a lot of Romics in that area.
There indeed are. I remember Pap saying when he came back and was like, and he's like, so many people come back to the valley. And he compared it to a womb because I was like, what? What? Why are always people coming back here? And it's this. And obviously our economy has gone through some horrible, horrible times. You know what I mean?
The Ohio Valley economy.
Absolutely. But both Morgantown, West Virginia, which is where West Virginia University is, and Pittsburgh, the city that's only an hour away from Wheeling, made the top 25 cities in Forbes' best cities to retire in the United States.
Yeah.
I just read that one, and I was like, wow.
I'd not seen Morgantown, but I'd seen Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is really growing. They're going a lot more with technological industries and things like that. It's really
you got Carnegie Mellon has got some wonderful robotics programs in their university. Pitt continues to be a leader in a lot of those fields. Google opened an office there. One of the things that bodes really well for Pennsylvania is they really do put a very high amount of importance on education.
Yeah.
A lot of, the percentage of people who have college degrees and graduate degrees, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And that always bodes well for an economy and for growth. And they have been doing really well.
Now, if the Pirates could only field a winning team.
They just, I'm not even going to go there. McCutcheon, who was like
I can't believe they let him go.
He's gone. Well, it was only one more year. And then they would have had nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? So at least they got something for his contract. Yeah. It's a building year. It's going to be a rebuilding.
It's been a building century.
Sure. I know, but it's okay. What are you going to do?
That's right. Okay, let me say, we're wrapping up?
Yeah.
Okay. Our very first episode, the Great Gun Debate Round 1. I don't know about you, but I got a lot of comments on that. But almost all of them were on Facebook, which is fine. But we have this YouTube channel and we have a website. So if you have comments about any of this, please comment there and tell us about if you're from Jersey, if you're from West Virginia or the Ohio Valley, what you love about it, maybe what's not so great, or if you're from other places that get a bad rap.
By the way, Jared,
Detroit, if you're from Detroit, tell us what's good about Detroit.
That's right. Jersey also has amazing pizza. Okay.
Yes.
And West Virginia, at least our area of West Virginia, has, come on,
it's unique pizza.
A very unique, square, fairly thick, crunchy crust pizza that is wonderful. Very different, but yeah.
Yeah, really definitely. Good. So anyway, if you want to comment, if you want to contact us on Facebook, that's great. But we would really appreciate you commenting on YouTube, drive those page views up and stuff, and on the website. And subscribe to the channel, all that, like, comment, whatever the heck it is you're supposed to do below. And we'll be back maybe even sooner than, because there's been a little bit of a lag between videos. And our sister Deborah still clawing to get in on this and was going to do it with us tonight, but she had something come up at the last minute.
And she still has remnants of the Jersey accent, even more so than we do.
Oh yeah.
So, So we'll have a cup of coffee for her, Joe. All right.
That's right. All right, man.
All right, bud. Love you
for watching. Love you too. How do I stop recording? Wait a minute. I gotta find the stop recording button. There it is.